Okay, we're live.
Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, folks. It is the one, the only, the thriller, the gorilla, and he is the cowboy killer. And we're back. It's Algo Factory Tech. Check us out, Algo Factory Tech. Trade your job, upgrade your life, be part of the revolution that is taking the world by storm. The most prolific trading group on God's green earth, where we not only teach you how to trade hell, you can learn that on your own, but we take it several steps further. We get you in-depth analysis, in-depth charting. We teach you the trading psychology, which is the most important thing. And as well, we teach you how to create the algorithms that trade on your behalf 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so you can have a life. On top of that, you get the inside skinny of what's happening with the markets, what's happening around the world, and how that affects all of you in your day-to-day purchases, prices, and savings. With that being said, Cowboy, good morning, buddy.
How are you, man?
I'm doing good, my friend. I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, I got to put a note up to X. Apparently, I switched my avatar, and when you switch avatars, they like take 3 days to review you, and they take away your blue check, and so they're not letting us broadcast there. So I have to put up the YouTube link.
Damn it, man! What is
to the live shows on YouTube because X won't let me broadcasts here during that time. X are very familiar. You have to watch the videos. Okay, good. And make sure my spelling is not dumb during that time. Link is here. I've been careful, like on X, not to post any links because they don't want you to link outside of X, right? It's like it's bad for the algos.
Yep.
But it's happening today, buddy. All right, so good. So what do you think, V? What do you think, man? Is your, because I know we usually have me on here and starting with the charts and saying, chart this, chart that, and chart the other. But I figure we could, mix it up instead of starting with the charts and ending with the Guerilla. We could start with the Guerilla this time, and then we could end with the charts. What do you think of that?
Excuse me. Still getting over my crap.
Maybe I should start.
Sorry about that, man.
No worries, dude.
All right, so we can start. What do you want to jump into?
Well, I was gonna. What I usually do, as you know, is I just kind of start with like the Bitcoin chart. Everybody wants to see what's going on with Bitcoin, right? But then, like last week, we had all that madness with the the unwind of the carry trade. Which, by the way, and I know we talked about this already, but V the Guerilla, you told us about the carry trade like last year, and you did an article. Did you do like an article in 2013 about the Japanese yen carry trade or something like that?
It was about 2015, 14 or 15. It was, I think, either in our first or second magazine that we did for Rogue. We did a Rogue Money. Back when we were Rogue Money, and I wrote down it's called Japan, the Mischief Engine. It's a 5,000 plus, maybe 7,000 word article that I put together. Going in depth of the economic relationship and how Japan was set up. Japan was not just set up, oh yeah, we're going to go ahead and create a country and create an economy for the country that we just blew up for no reason in World War II. You dropping the nuclear bombs, and that's another topic for another day. So the real purpose, I mean, these globalists and these guys, they set, their vision, which is a one world government, which is global supremacy, which it's been the fantasy of every ruler that has ever existed in history, from Genghis Khan to Alexander the Great to Julius Caesar. Everybody wants a global empire. It's just a natural proclivity of elites. It's just a natural proclivity of human nature and those who conquer. So at the end of World War II, Japan was in shambles. Germany's in shambles. Europe has destroyed. The last cleanest shirt in the dirty playground is the United States. And we have the benefit of being saved at that time from the war by having two very vast oceans that separated us from the theaters of conflict. So our industry remained intact. And now what the planners were thinking about doing is, okay, how do we create Pax Americana? And how do we make it last 1,000 years? Right. And so Japan is integral to that. And they set Japan up in a way to become a financial powerhouse with a focal point of keeping the rise of an Eastern power always under its thumb. Because even back in the late 50s, they knew any challenge to the United States would arise out of Eurasia. I mean, we've seen at that time, at the end of World War II, Russia is surging in nuclear power. By 1949, they detonated their first atomic bomb. Then China started to rise as well. So they knew any challenge would be within that 38th parallel, would be within the Eurasian economic zone. So Japan was always set up like that. And when they were set up like that, I mean, they were used several times in order to foist the dollar. They were used during the late 80s, early 90s to create the ruble hyperinflation that took down the Soviet Union, which entailed the subsequent side effect of that was the Asian economic crisis of the 90s. And if you were like me, a kid in high school at that time, you would salivate over the Japanese sports cars. It was like the zenith of Japanese JDM sports car culture. You had the Toyota ZX, you had the Supra Twin Turbo, the Mark IIIs, right? You had
Skyline.
You had we never in the U.S. we never had the forbidden fruit of the R34 or the R33 GTRs, which now you can import. But we had the RX-7. It was a good time. Then all of a sudden, the Asian economic crisis hit, and all of those cars kind of just pattered away. And that was, we use Japan when we want to use it to the detriment of the Japanese people and to the detriment of the Japanese economy. So Japan has always been used as a vassal, an economic vassal of the United States. They're used to be involved in all sorts of bond fraud manipulation that we do. The Japanese yen carry trade with the U.S. dollar has always been a very important leg within the stool. That is the U.S. dollar hegemony. That, the petrodollar, and Eurobonds. Those are the three things that has built the dollar to where it is today. Okay, so this is all of this working together is what hoists up and keeps the financial system going that we've enjoyed, which right now, Cowboy, is being taken apart and faltering and collapsing bit by bit. You see.
So we're on a precipice, really. We've been talking about this precipice, and you're gonna have a lot of like fear mongering. You're gonna have a lot of, and that's a lot of those people fear mongering are friends. Like, I don't want to be too harsh here, but one of the things that we've seen in sort of the alt community is a lot of, cat food, basement talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not useful, and it's also, I don't think, necessary. There's a lot of talk about World War III. There's a lot of talk about all these things, and I get it. We are probably closer to some kind of a nuclear exchange than we've been in a long time, and we were not that way 4 years ago. And then there are a lot of things I don't think that matter when it comes to who's in charge in the presidency, and I think there are some things that do matter. And I'm sorry, but just what's happened over the past 4 years is definitely has to do with who's been in charge of the administration. I listened to that whole, and I have not listened to like a Trump speech all the way through in probably since like 2017, like like since he was running before like 2015. I'm not one of those guys that listens to Trump speeches, but as you know, I was listening to the one with Elon that it wasn't a speech, it was like a conversation. And one of the really big points to take away from that was like, you can actually have a conversation with Donald Trump. Like all these other candidates, you can't. It's all pre-scripted. It's all like, you're talking to not that person. You're talking to just like whatever, right? But the whole point though is that I don't think we would have seen any of this fighting had we had a different administration in charge. And I think that had we not had all these problems, we would not have been propelled towards this huge change in the financial system as quickly. We wouldn't have seen this problem with Ukraine. Probably, you never know. Something would have probably been done a lot of the inflammatory language that probably, pushed Russia into heading in there, a lot of the things that were done in Ukraine that, that caused Russia to head in there, things like that. It just doesn't seem like as many things would have happened under Trump. So, and all of those things led us to, confiscating Russia's FX reserves to the tune of $600 billion, which really was a big shot across the bow. And now we see a lot of the world moving away from the dollar, and it's taking time. It's not like the dollar is not being used. It's just, it's eroding away this whole petrodollar system. So now we have different trade blocks emerging. We have currency systems changing very quickly. And the currency market, I think, is where a lot of opportunities are, because until that entire market changes, right, there's going to be like this, like all of international trade's probably going to have to still go through in some way, shape, or form, like the dollar. And that's just because the dollar is an economy that's large enough to handle it. You're going to have the BRICS nations, which are going to start doing, unilateral trade without using the dollar. They'll be able to settle in their own currencies. You got the gold trade settlement note. You got things like that, and those take time to develop. But as that does change, the currency market is really going to have a lot of volatility, I think. And lately, if we look at the currency market, I'm going to go ahead and share the screen here. If we look at the currency market, sure, you'll notice that the volatility is actually pretty low. So I'm going to look at the euro versus the dollar, and I'm going to go to the weekly chart right here. And the whole point here is that, let me take this one section, my trading station. Let's move that one down. The whole point here is that, look, crypto is great to trade. It's volatile as hell, and it's where you want to be in a big way for a while. But crypto does good for like a year and a half, right? So, and the best way to make money in crypto for most people, unless you're a trader, unless you're like an Algo Factory or something, the best way is just to kind of buy and hold the right cryptos and stand aside, right? Most people are just not going to win trading because they don't come to places like Algo Factory. They don't know how to develop a trading method and algorithm. They don't know how to do that. So in the meantime, though, if you do want to learn how to trade and develop it, then it's great. Trade your cryptos, go for it. But know that probably a year from now, there's a really good probability, USD, that the crypto market's going to lose all its volatility because it just does so every 4 years, right? Well, what has historically had a lot of volatility, at least prior to, like you'll have years of it and then non-years of it, like 2017 to 2019. Actually, really, I'd say, let's look at this. Just as far as you can see back here through like for 20 years, great volatility. Had a lack of volatility in the Forex market from say 2015 to 2017. It wasn't quite as good, but it was still pretty good. Like you can make a lot of money in there. And then the real lack of volatility where you could still make plenty of money because I was trading the whole time from like mid 2018 through about 2020. You had a couple of years there where it wasn't quite as good, but there was still plenty of money to be made. You just had to adapt your strategy. But aside from that, like 1.8 year region, there's, and by the way, this recent time, there's still plenty of volatility, but you can see it's calmed down, right? And this is on the weekly chart. You're looking at years and years of price action here. It's like 90% of the time, there is a bunch of volatility to trade, if not more than 90% in this Forex market. Now, if you look at crypto, this is not the case. So I'm going to overlay Bitcoin on here because, crypto is all going to follow Bitcoin. And this is what I'm going to start hammering in because we got a great year left of trading crypto right now, right? We've got like I said, I think we got a good 12 months. Let me do this differently. Let's not do this. This is not easy to look at. I'm going to take this off the screen. And first thing I'm going to do is show you guys the way that volatility works in markets so that you can understand where the opportunities come from. You're going to have consolidations, periods of time where there's not as much volatility, even though there's plenty to trade. And then you're going to have these big moves, right? And the big moves are where you get like major volatility. It's just fish in a barrel, right? You have these big moves like this, and you have a time where it just hangs out, and you have these giant moves like this, and a giant move like here, big moves here, And then even in these blocks, there's plenty of opportunities in Forex, right? It's like almost nonstop opportunities. Let's look at Bitcoin. And if you pay attention to the way that Bitcoin moves over time, let's use the index here. Bitcoin has long periods of time where there's nothing. So you have like, yeah, let's put the new halving on here. When is this? November. Okay. So we'll go back, and this period here, this period pretty much here, and this period here, not a lot of volatility. It's about half the time. You're going to have a fair amount of volatility, but then you also are going to have during the second half of that where the market is compressing. So you probably still want to be in crypto. So, because remember, Forex doesn't matter up or down, right? It's all about volatility. You're not buying Forex to hold. So even during these second half of the bull run, your prices are collapsing and you probably just don't want to be in crypto in general because you're just like losing money. So you have a lack of volatility and you have bear market crush. So really crypto is good. I'm looking at this and I would say, well, let's just do the math. Just going back to 2018, you got, where's my price range or my date range? You've got not great to trade, not great to trade, not great to trade. Okay, we'll be generous. We'll say like this. We'll say the first part of here is okay to trade, even though most people weren't touching it at this time. That's 2023. Like nobody was touching crypto in 2023. This is when we got started right here at Algo Factory, but ain't nobody touching crypto in this time. But whatever, we'll be generous. So we got 435 days, 360, so about 800 days, another 500 days. So that's like 1,300 days. And then our regions where it's like where there's a lot of volatility and it's tradable is going to be actually closer to 900 days. We got tradable here. And I'm just putting on when people are trading, you know? So 900 days versus about 900 days. It's like 50% of the time, you know? And I'm being generous here, by the way. Like I'm being super generous about, because ain't nobody trading in this time. You know what I mean? Even though I put that people are trading during this time, they're not. So, you know, go about 50% of the time, maybe. And most people don't even know crypto's happening for even half of that time. So I'm being extremely generous saying 50% of the time crypto is good for trading. And most people are just buying and holding. So my whole point here is that, do you want to be somebody that just kind of waits every 4 years to get in kind of, no one's going to buy at the bottom of the bear market. We did. At Algo Factory, we started this thing in the bear market because we've been in crypto for a long time, right? And so we started the bear market, and I was telling everybody, hey, you know what? Solana's great at $15. You know, there's a lot of things that we were saying that people in Algo Factory knew about that we were not telling, you know, anything to the broad public. And I was like, hey, I'm going to buy, you know, Solana at $15, and I'm going to buy, like, I have a whole host of coins that I bought last summer and then towards the end of last year, and we got some times 10s and, you know, some major stuff. A lot of people aren't even touching crypto at that time. They didn't get into crypto until like March of this year, right? Because people just don't know anything. Or do you want to be a trader who can trade, like, what do we say on Forex, like 90% of the time, where you can find opportunities like all the time, where you can extract money from the market, you know, with the exception of August, which is usually a pretty slow month like right now. For like any given year in Forex, with the exception of August, there's enough volatility to extract money from the market at least a few times a week. At least a few times a week. If you're, you know, if you're just like swing trading, maybe a few times a month, right? There's just, the point here is that, do you want to be a trader, or do you want to sit and wait for, you know, every 4 years to have your opportunities in crypto? And then you're going to buy, and then you're going to hold it, and you're going to hope it does well, right? And just kind of, you're going to watch the news every day and, you know, oh, hey, I hope my coin does well in 6 months, which is great. You know, building assets over time is the way to make money. But do you want to farm, or do you want to hunt? We do both. What I do is I hunt, and then whatever food that I hunt with, I turn into fertilizer and I use it in my farm. I like to trade maybe 5 to 10% of my bag or whatever it is, and the wins go into the long-term bag. And I live kind of, I don't really spend, or I don't really like sell my crypto if I don't have to, like for a period of time, until what I think is the crypto market top. And then I'm willing to kind of sell crypto to, buy some things or pay for some things. But I actually will live relatively skinny up until I think the bull market is topped out. Because right now in crypto, like, sure, I can spend a little crypto here and there. But if I cash out crypto, right? If I really spend it or cash it out, first of all, you got to, if you don't have the right setup for taxes and stuff, you got to deal with taxes. But secondly, like, okay, let's just say I'm holding crypto and I think it's going to go times 5. And let's say I have $100,000 of like spending money, right? Well, that's $500,000 in 6 months, right? So I spend like $20,000. That's like spending $100,000 in future money. So what are you going to do with your crypto? You're going to buy some crypto in like January of whatever, and you're going to hold off until the following March or April, and you're going to be looking at the market. You're not going to be doing anything active. I mean, maybe you'll try to get some plays, maybe you won't. You play your crap coins, you lose half your money doing that. This is not a way to make money in markets like actively. You'll be able to cash out and reap the rewards, but a lot of people end up getting hurt because they have to sacrifice their holdings to pay for their bills, right? So what we do at Algo Factory is, whether you want to trade crypto or even trade Forex, we give people the opportunity to trade on the side so that if they do need some spending money, they can go ahead and take a portion of their money. They can turn it into a trading account on a place like Forex, where you can trade like almost all the time and you can pull money out. And so the reason I'm doing all this is so you realize there are always opportunities in trading. I know a lot of people in crypto, especially like right now, they're like, oh man, the market's down or there's nothing to do. Like, bullshit. There's plenty to do. I mean, even if the market was like Forex market being slow in August, there's all kinds of stuff to do. There's a lot of studying that you can do. There's building your algorithms. This is a way that, even if it's not your main income, this is a way that you can build out like a side income, things like that. I never recommend anybody have one income stream. I do think that it's wise to always have more than one income stream, right? But long story short, I'm just trying to demonstrate how there's so many opportunities in trading, and you don't have to sit and wait for the crypto market. Daniel, thanks for coming in. I've got my soapbox done. I think I probably just bored the audience to tears, but I'm just trying to show people like where the opportunities are right now. That's kind of where today's like freaking rant came to. So Trade Journey says, yeah, trade to pay the bills. Yeah, if you can, Trade Journey. The way I look at like that whole thing is, build your trading plan. And you build your plan out to where it might take a lot of time, and you win the trade to win the trade. You don't win the trade to get money, right? You don't want that to be your primary income until you have a very large AUM, until you have a lot of money. Like if you have so much money that you can trade to pay your bills a very small amount of your money, then that's an acceptable thing. I don't think it's a good idea to where all your bills are paid and you have to pretty much trade your whole account to do it. That's going to be high pressure. You're not going to have good trading psychology. But yeah, you can trade to pay the bills, or you can just, trade and you can use it to add to your pot. So this is a long, and I hope not too boring session of the live lab, but I don't see any requests coming through for charts right now. So, no chart requests. We talk about what we want. Be the Guerilla. What do you want to do? You want to flip over to private?
That's flip to private.
Okay, let's do. Get us out of here, sir, if you please could.
All right, listen, guys. Listen, Joe's sitting on the sidelines wondering if this is for you. Join us, algofactory.tech, and in the private live. That's where you get all the juicy inside details. You get the inside baseball, the skinny of what's happening. That being said, Cowboy, take us away.
Join us or die.